Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Laurent and today I'm going to be showing you how I made these awesome pencils out of some scrap paper. So in a recent video I showed how I made some pocket notebooks from comic book covers, and I ended up having some extra comic book covers left over. And remember seeing someone a while ago make pencils out of newspaper. So I thought it would be a neat project to accompany my notebooks. If you want to see how I made these notebooks, be sure to check out the video. That being said, let's get into this. So the material list for this project is actually quite small. You'll of course need some pencil leads. My mom actually happened to have some lying around, so I just used those, but you could find these pretty cheap online in bulk. Of course you'll need some kind of paper. As I mentioned earlier, I used leftover comic book pages from another project, but you could use old book pages, newspaper, or anything as long as it's wide as your lead and long enough to get about 15 to 20 wraps. And then of course you'll need a glue to bind it all together. I've heard Mod Podge works really great for this, but I didn't have any, so I just used some Elmer's glue mixed with a bit of water, and that worked perfectly. Looking back though, I think wood glue would have been a better choice because it dries much harder, although it is a lot messier. As far as putting it all together goes, it's actually really simple. I roughly cut my paper to size, add a bit of my glue mix to the end of either side, and fold it over itself, and then use a ruler to tuck it in and kind of roll it over itself. Once you've got the first roll, add some glue to the rest of your page and keep rolling it tight. The tricky part here is to roll it tight enough that it will dry as a sturdy enough pencil to write and sharpen, but not too hard that you'll break the lead while rolling it. I broke my first lead and realized I needed to try a little tenderness. You got to try a little tenderness! If you do break one though, don't worry, you can still wrap it really tight and it'll still work fine. Also, make sure to keep your hands clean during this process because as you accumulate more glue on your fingers and they become more tacky, it becomes a lot harder to roll the pencil tight. Trust me on this one. Once it's fully wrapped, I added a bit more glue on the outside surface to keep it nice and tight, and did that a few more times as it dried to make sure that the layer where it met the pencil stayed nice and flat and didn't come back up off the pencil. Then I let it fully dry overnight, so the glue could dry all the way through. This is an air drying glue, and the very center doesn't have access to much air, so you'll want to give it plenty of time to fully set. Once it's set, you can use a kitchen knife on a cutting board to carefully trim your edges. Do this very slowly so you do not break the leads. If everything goes right, you should be able to treat it like a normal pencil and sharpen it as you would any other. Some of mine were a bit loose and tended to twist when I sharpened them, but I took it slow and they still worked fine. Others feel solid as wood and you can really tell it's a nice tight wrap. You could take the metal bits off the end of old pencils if you wanted and stick the eraser heads on these, but I kinda liked the raw look so I kept them as was. If I can be brutally honest about this project though, this one takes a lot more time than it's worth. It can be very tedious trying to wrap these up, and if all you need is something to write with, it would definitely be easier to go over to the dollar store and buy a pack of pencils. However, if you're like me and you like homemade stuff, then it's definitely worth it. Anyway, you guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you liked it, be sure to touch the butt. Have a fantastic day, and bye-bye.